Going to make sure. We're going to just go over, just make sure where we are right now. So this is welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Procurement Services. This is the DPS workshop. What we're going to talk today about is the mission statement, the laws governing the procurement process, types of procurement, certification, contract monitoring and compliance, programs and bid incentives, navigating the DPS website, and then we'll have a question and answer after that. Okay. The mission statement. We are the contracting authority for the procurement of goods and services for the city, and we pledge to work together as a team and with our customers to guarantee an open, fair, and timely process by establishing, communicating, and enforcing superior business practices. Integrity, public trust, and the law are our guiding principles. And we are governed by the Municipal Purchasing Act, as it states right there. And that is what we're governed by. And the city ordinances passes that through our city council for that purchasing act. Let me go over to the next one is our types of procurement. We have small orders, competitive bids, requests for proposals, requests for qualifications, and job order contracts. That is the 5 major categories for which we perform our procurements. So let me talk a little bit about small orders. All right, small orders is the procurement of goods or services for under $100,000. No formal bid, specification, or public advertisement is a requirement. So it would not be in the Sun-Times or Tribune, anything like that. And the quotes may be solicited by telephone, fax, or written quotation posted on our DPS website. The City of Chicago also looks at all the certified MBWB vendors are always solicited first, so you guys know that. And then MBWB compliance required for all bids over $10,000. We do have a $100,000 threshold, and then we have a $10,000 threshold, just so you know that. So the $10,000, there are no MBWB goals for those, so you know that. All right, the next one is our competitive bids. Of course, this is all bids over $100,000. And this can be commodities, work services, vehicle heavy equipment. And like I say, those are all over $100,000. Those must be advertised in the newspaper. And the website is right there is www.cityofchicago.org. Right? Yep, /procurement. And you can also pick up the bids right here at City Hall Room 103, and they are given out to about 4:30 every day. So if you was interested in one of those bids. The solicitation period is usually a 10 to 30-day period that it's on the street. So that gives you a chance to review it and see if this is something of interest to your firm. And if it's an addendum, we usually have to push it out 10 days if there is information that changes the solicitation document. And the next one is about the plan deposit. Most of those are for a construction-related bid, okay? So the next one, speaking about the competitive bid too, it mentions about the pre-bid. It could include, like I said, most of the pre-bids are handled in this room right here, but sometimes we do have them off-site. Like if the police department has something, we would go off to their location and have the pre-bid there. And also we could include the site inspection or of the work location after a pre-bid meeting. So if it's like construction, you go to the site and do look at the site so you can answer any questions they might have about the bid. And to talk about optional requirements for the bidding process, which can include a review of the specifications. This is all that happens at the pre-bid. Address concerns regarding the specifications, any Q&A, so any questions you might have, we would try to answer those. And if not, we would ask you to email those to the specialist that's on record, and then a addendum or clarification could be issued. And it says, like I say, it may result in an addendum or clarification, okay? And I mentioned that about the site inspection of the work. Okay, but if there is not a pre-bid meeting, let me go to that. If there is not a pre-bid meeting, bidders are encouraged to review the specification and contract documents during the bid solicitation period, which I mentioned is 10 to 30 days, and contact the Department of Procurement Services, the contract administrator on file, identified in the bid advertisement, regarding any questions about the bid documents. All right. When you are ready to submit your bid documents, make sure you fill in all required information. You know, you make sure with whoever the signature for the firm is, make sure the president is authorized to sign, or whoever signs for the president. I'll back that up. Whoever signs for the president is authorized to sign for them, and we need corporate resolution, like I say, the vice president, secretary, anyone who signs for that firm, they have authorization to sign. Any other documents, your proposal pages, make sure they're signed. Make sure everything is filled in. You do not skip any lines, because those are called exceptions, or they were cause for room for rejection of a bid. So just make sure of that. And it also asks for you to notarize the document, okay? Let me go to the next one. Next one is about the bid submittal. You want to include any bid deposit. Like I said, that's usually for construction. In the proper form, cash is not accepted. Bid deposit is usually 5% of the bid, and is normally non-refundable, or normally is refundable, sorry, and may be required for some bids. A bid fee, which is also for construction, is non-refundable and may be required for some bid submittals that are greater than $100,000. And as we mentioned, all bids must be received at this location before 11 a.m. sharp, because if not, it will be rejected. Okay. All bid openings happen between Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. in this room, so room 103. Bids are all open and read aloud. Ms. Hatisha Reynolds is our coordinator for the bids. Once those bids are read, they are given to the buyer in procurement. They are all tabulated. So once they're tabulated, then all bid documents are reviewed for accuracy and completeness, making sure all the documents I said were completed, signed, notarized, and then bids should be online at our website 24 hours after that bid opening. So that gives you a chance to, or it gives the specialist a chance to make sure that all the calculations are correct. All right. Now, talk a little bit about the award process. Now, we're talking about the determination is made regarding the bidder's responsiveness and responsibility for award. We put together a recommendation of award, and then the acceptable bids are packaged, and then those are routed through our signature approvals process, which is then signed by the comptroller, mayor, and our chief procurement officer. And in most cases, some cases anyway, a contractor's performance and payment bond and assurance and funding agency must be provided. That's, like I said, that's most likely for construction projects. And then the contract is awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, meaning all the city specifications. What does that mean? Lowest responsive, it means that you answered all the questions in the bid, you took no exceptions to the document, and you, every time that, say, a specialist asked a question, you provided the documents, or you gave a timely response to every question that was provided in the bid. Because we do, after, like I say, after the bid opening, we go through making sure that everything, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed before we send it for a signature approval cycle. All right, so that's a competitive bid. So next we're going to talk about, which is a professional service, is a request, let me go back, hold on, is a request for proposals, which is what we call an RFP. This method is used to solicit proposals to implement a new project requiring professional services, and is used when the city doesn't have an in-house technical expert. What that means is CDOT Fleet and Facility does not have the facility, so then we go out to the general public and ask for firms to provide the services that we're looking for. An RFP defines the project objectives, the scope, but doesn't detail every aspect of implementing the project. So it requires detailed evaluation of the proposal by an evaluation committee. So the evaluation committee is usually determined by the user department. They have to have an odd number of individuals on that team. They evaluate all the submittals that come in for that particular RFP. And an RFP is usually designated there, means there's a price component to it. The next one I'm going to talk about is a request for qualifications where there isn't a price component, meaning there is no price. All we want to do is qualify firms for work to be done. And that's a good segue for the next one, which is a request for qualifications. And this method is used to solicit qualifications from companies who possess a high degree of technical expertise and knowledge in specific disciplines. The city pre-qualifies companies to build a vendor pool. So we will go out for qualifications. We will say for architecture engineering, that's a good example. We want 10 firms we're going to put together for this particular RFQ, and we'll have them set aside. So when, say for instance, we're building a bridge across Lakeshore Drive, these are the 10 firms we will go to. They will put together the plans. Well, let's back up 1 second. These 10 firms will put together submittal to do the work. They don't just get automatically selected. They have to come up with a plan to do the work, and then the user department will select the best firm and team that put together the best proposal for that work. That's how that is selected. Okay? The next one is our job order contracts. Now, JOC is a firm, fixed price, competitive bid, indefinite quantity contract specifically designed for each department's construction program. So aviation currently uses one. Department of Transportation, aviation, I mentioned the fleets and facility management. They all use the JOC program because it's more, like I say, it's more construction-based. And it's a method used to solicit qualifications from companies who possess a high degree of technical expertise and knowledge in specific disciplines. This method is used to accomplish small to medium-sized projects. So it's not for the big, large, like Lakeshore Drive, it would be for smaller type projects. And instead of bidding every small or medium construction job and developing plans, departments can use JOC. So that's some better time efficiency for the user departments. General contractors are solicited to respond to the advertised JOC, which contains a unit price book with the description and the unit of measure and unit price for each task. Award to a general contractor offering the most favorable adjustment factor, and they do have a JOC. If any of you are interested in the JOC process, they do have a workshop for that as well. The value of the JOC contract depends upon the departmental needs and budget. Yeah. Okay. So that talks about the various procurements or categories that the city has. Now we're going to go into the certification. I don't know if anyone was here for the workshop. Now, the certification, there are 5 different certifications. You got the MBE, that's the most standard, the minority business owned enterprise. Then you have a WBE, a women-owned business enterprise, the business enterprise owned by people with disabilities, DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise, which is mainly for construction-related projects, and then the airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise. All right, the basic eligibility requirements, businesses must be at least 51% owned and controlled by a minority, women, or other disadvantaged individual. Under this, the BEPD program, businesses must be at least 51% owned and controlled by an individual with a disability. Okay, the contract monitoring and compliance. Make sure that's where we are. Okay. You want to monitor the actual utilization. This is what they do. We have a unit that does this specifically. They monitor the actual utilization of the MBEs, WBEs, and DBEs that have been listed as subcontracts on a compliance plan. They ensure that compliance with the Chicago residency ordinances or requirements and equal employment opportunity commitments have been met. Let me talk a little bit about the Chicago residency ordinance. The contract must be estimated at $100,000 or more and funded by the City of Chicago. 50% of the total work hours must be performed by actual residents of the City of Chicago. Now, for equal employment opportunity, in order to promote equality of opportunity for minority and female personnel on city-funded construction projects, an award criteria determination must be inserted to each contract specification that is estimated $100,000 or more. Award criteria determination is mainly for construction projects, okay? And bidders are invited to propose the minority female employee utilization goals, all right? All right, there's ways to achieve compliance, all right? One way is the prime is an MBE, WB, or DBE. 2, joint venturing with the MBE, WBE, or a DBE. The next way is subcontracting a portion of the work to one or more MBE, WBEs, or DBEs. Or purchasing materials that are used in the performance of the contract for one or more MBE, WBEs, or DBEs. All right, so the next one we talk about are the reporting requirements. Prime contractors are responsible for submitting, and this is after contract award, the monthly subcontractor payment certification forms, the weekly certified payrolls, and the waivers of liens. Okay, and that talks all about the contract monitoring and compliance. So now we'll talk about the programs and bid incentives for the various contracts that we award. We have a SBI, which is called the Small Business Initiative, which is mainly for construction. Next one we have is the Diversity Credit Program. And then the next one we have is a Mentor Protege Program. The next type of incentive we have is bid incentives. Those are the Small Business Enterprise, the Veteran-Owned Business Enterprise owned by people with disabilities, city-based manufacturers, city-based businesses, apprentice utilization, and alternatively powered vehicles incentives. Okay. All right. Let me go to the next one. All right, the next one is the DPS website. This is where we will find many things to help you be able to navigate and be able to turn in a bid for the City of Chicago, or look at bids if you were awarded a contract. So once we have awarded contracts and modifications, you can look up any previous contract that has been awarded by the City of Chicago, as long as you have a PO number or a contract number. Payments that have been made to vendors, the bid tabulations, the weekly bid opportunities. If you're interested in any type of the bids that are out, you can go to the weekly bid opportunities and see everything that's out for bid. The searchable MWBE directory that could be used if you were looking for a firm to help you partner with on a particular project. And all that I mentioned about the bid incentives, all the regulations, and the DPS website is the www.cityofchicago.org/procurement. I'm going to walk you through how it looks, the DPS website. On the far left is all the different tabs that you can go look at. You can say you got the vendor information, you got contracts and awards, disclosures, bid tabulations, the takeout list, that's who took out the bid, payments, and any reported subcontractor payments. All you do is go to I want to search for in the middle and then hit search. All right, you do need to now have the various information to put in there, so you must have a spec number. I go to the next one, so here's all the various components that you must fill in to make sure you can search correctly. So you need at least a vendor name, you need or you need a contract number, or you need a spec number. Or if you want to just do a range, you can do from between $0 and $1 million, and or a date range. So this gives you various opportunities to find whatever you're looking for in that on our website. And the next stage, this, like I say, this is a good example of looking up an awarded contract. Somebody put in the contract number, 4848, and there it is. It comes up, and it's a hyperlink, so all you got to do is click on the 4848, and that'll open. One, you see who it was awarded to, the amount, the award date, the description of the actual project. And as I mentioned before, if you click on the hyperlink of the 4848, it's like a line underline it, it would open up into the actual contract, so you can really look at all the submitted documents with that bid. So the next one is, this is considered like modification. These are all the modifications on the one I just showed you previously. So for this one here, for this contract 4848 with FHP Tectonics, these hold it. One more. These are all the modifications that took place on that contract. This shows if there was money added to it, if there was time added to it, and then it tells you the award date of all those modifications. So it's a helpful tool if you want to be able just to really look at a contract and see what the true scenario, what happened with that. All right. Now this is the next one about the City of Chicago payments. Like I said, you can put in a date range, you can put in a year, or you can put in a vendor's name, and it's going to give you everything regarding the payments to a particular company. All right. The next one is more about the bid tabulations. So what happens here is, say for instance, a bid came in today, and you want to find out how the bids range. You bidded on it. You want to find out how everything took place. Where were you? Were you high, low? This is where you would go. You put the spec number in. Spec number is what drives all of the bids that we have. Every bid that we have out has a spec number. You can also put on the bid opening date, so it's going to give you everything for today that opened today or whatever date you put in. And then you hit the search, and it will bring you to the requested information you're looking for. All right. So the next one is, it talks about this is where you can go, www.facebook.com/Chicago DPS. And then also we have a Twitter account as well. So we have various opportunities. We try to be as transparent as possible so you can actually see everything possible regarding the bids or working with the Department of Procurement Services. Okay. So with that said, we want to thank you for coming, and now we will ask for any questions that you guys might have. Okay. Any questions? In the back. What's that again? You would have to actually check with our compliance unit on what those incentives are, because I'm not sure on what those are. Because like I said, I work on the contract administration side. Actually, I'll give you a good example. Contract administration handles all of the bid opportunities with the City of Chicago. We actually have a whole other department that handles all the contract and compliance and the certification. So actually, I can give you a phone number. You can give them a call too if you like. No, it's procurement services. It's the big umbrella, but certification compliance handles all the different bids. I mean, all the different certification and compliance questions. I handle all contract administration. That's what I run on the other side. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Okay, good. All right. All right. If there's no further questions, I want to thank you all for coming out, and make sure you bid any projects we have. Like I say, good opportunities for all the businesses in the city. Okay, thank you. All right.